Hey, everybody. Welcome to The Player's Take, episode 107. I'm your host, Justin and joined by my co-host, forever wearing a mask, Montrell Rice.
Hey, what's up?
How's it going, man?
I was doing okay. I was having a very productive day, and then, we got announced in Texas that we were going maskless. So
the mask mandate is being lifted by the state next week. The floodgates will open. Everything will be 100% capacity allowed everywhere, yep, COVID's just gone, guys. Let's go. Here we go, baby, So I hope you're ready for that, Montreal,
I am not ready for that.
Yeah, me either.
There was some debate. Well, not a debate, but a lot of people were like, yeah, I'm free, I'm happy, and it's okay if you got the vaccine and everything like that. It should be a choice for the people, not the state to demand. And I was gonna say, like, hey, the people are the reason why we got into this mess in the first place.
Yeah. Right. Because they wouldn't listen, And now that cases are going down a bit, they have, case numbers are a little down compared to where they were a few months ago.
Well, interesting. We're still the highest.
I know.
State.
Oh, I know. That's the silly part, isn't it? We're like, we're still the highest. We're the first ones going like, woo, let everybody go. Yeah, we're back to partying, baby. Like, it's like, come on, man. I get it. It sucks. I hate it too. I don't want to be doing this, but it's just, I don't know. This is my problem, is that I don't want to be doing this, but the fact that we're opening up is going to mean that I'm probably going to have to keep doing this for a while, because numbers are going to spike again. It's just the way it goes, it's just the way it's going to go. Because we're not that vaccinated as a state, like vaccinations aren't that high.
Well, the thing is, you can still get it, even when you're vaccinated. So
yeah, which is a problem.
Yeah,
right.
So I don't know what the vaccination is doing. I thought it was supposed to prevent it from you getting it, but apparently you can still get it.
It doesn't have 100% success rate at that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It has like a certain percentage of. I think it's fairly high. It's like 85 or 90%, but that's not. When you're talking about millions of people, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, because Texas has 29 million people in it, so that's a lot.
Yeah, I think it's a way to. I think what they're trying to do is that stimulus package is getting pushed through in the Senate now, and I think they're trying to have some leverage on why they should block it.
Yeah.
So now they're telling Mississippi to open up. Florida apparently has been open up for the last 3 months.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I will say Texas is not the first place to open up. Florida's been completely ignoring this whole thing the whole time, basically.
I mean, it's Florida though, so
yeah. And somehow we have higher case numbers than they do too, which is like that's bonkers. But yeah, so I don't know. It's COVID. We're still in a pandemic, everybody, and I wish we weren't. But here we are, I don't know. Yeah. Our new president too we haven't had any it feels like no real plans have been rolled out on like, how we're dealing with this. It's just like, we're just continuing on the way we've been doing, like nothing's really changed. It feels like, there's a little more urgency in getting vaccinations out there, but otherwise,
I mean, I don't know. I just feel like, and this is not a political podcast, but it's just like, I know sometimes states need power, but holy shit, bro. Like, sometimes leaving shit up to the states is just not the answer. It's like, it's a slippery slope for that. Yeah. For me to say that, because I don't want the government to take over the states as well. But it's just like, what do you do, man? Like, how do you navigate this spectrum? So I don't know.
I mean, we as individuals continue to make choices, like I'm going to keep wearing a mask and probably not going out, and everyone else is going to do what they're going to do. So
there's going to be people out there just raw dogging air, like no condom on their face, just raw dogging it, and it's just crazy to me.
Oh, that's a horrible visual, dude. Oh my gosh, Montreal, why'd you have to put that out there? Jesus Christ, man. Yeah. I mean, it's, dude. At this point, Montreal, it's been we've got almost a full calendar year since this pandemic really started for us. I'd say around mid March is really when it like hit home that this is a thing. Because I think that's when our job back when you worked with us. Like we all started working from home at that point and the office was closed. We're almost coming up on a year on that, and I think we had been talking about COVID, I think even on this podcast before then, but
Yeah,
um it's like this last year has been one of the most unbelievably packed years that I can remember, in terms of a calendar, 365 days. I can't think of a year that was more packed with things happening in my personal life and otherwise in the world as well. It's crazy, and even as much as 2 weeks ago, we're still having shit happening, man. Like with the snowstorms that happen in Texas, like it doesn't end. It doesn't seem to end. So I'm tired. I'm tired, man. And I'm glad we get to do this show every week, that we are continuing to do it, because this is like my therapy session. It's like I hope those of you listening, if you're stressed out, this can be that for you as well, because this is my chance to talk about things that aren't in that sphere. And I know we're talking about it right now, but that won't last. This is a video game podcast. Just to remind you all, this is a video game podcast. But
yeah, it is.
So
it's been a stressful week, man. It's been
it has been
stressful couple of weeks actually.
Yeah.
This week just fucking started
right
when we were dated recording.
Yeah, fair enough. So,
but I know for all you guys, you're gonna listen to on Friday, so hopefully by Friday, everything's all right with you guys. Yeah, let's get the show on the road.
All right, enough bullshit. This isn't a political podcast. This is not a COVID pandemic analysis podcast. No, God damn it. This is our video game show, our weekly show, where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and your favorite podcast app of choice. And like I've been saying weekly, every week, please send us questions. You guys are doing a terrible job of this. No one's sending us fucking questions. Sage is the only person who's ever sent us a question for this show, and we need some questions. All right, please. So send those to theplayerstake01@gmail.com or at theplayerstake on Twitter, and we'll answer them on the show. They can be about anything. Topics we've talked about previously, topics you think we're going to talk about in a given week, topics we missed, whatever you want to talk about. So please do that. And all right, Montreal, let's get into it. I think we're going to have a good show today. I feel the energy. The energy feels good. Everything's flowing. We got some good news lined up, good things to talk about. Let's go, baby. Let's go. So let's start with what we've been playing. Montreal, you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I only been playing one game, and then we can talk about the last game.
Okay.
But that's League of Legends. I've been playing that with my friends.
Playing the same things for like 3 weeks.
Man, it's been a very I'm in that gaming lull period.
I know,
right?
I know what you mean. Yeah.
And I was actually before Neo. Oh shit, I just gave it away. But before Neo came, I was actually just gonna play through the Metal Gear series again. Like I have a very serious issue with starting up new games because it's like I don't know if I'm gonna like it, and then I want to go to something I'm familiar with. So that's just what it is. I don't know.
Sounds like a you issue. No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I know what you mean, though. I have the same problem. I was like, when the snowstorm hit, I beat Persona 5 that week, Persona 5 Royal on Sunday before it snowed, like in the afternoon, and, nothing had fallen yet. And, bro, when I tell you for the rest of that week, I don't think I played a new game, I'm not kidding. Like I literally, because we recorded that Tuesday, and remember we talked about like Attack on Titan or whatever.
Yeah.
And we were talking about season 4 and all that stuff. And after that, I started watching the show again, and I just spent the whole week fucking watching Attack on Titan again. Like that's what I did the whole week. It was just.
Look, I know this is not an anime podcast, but hey, okay. I'm going. This is my hot take.
Yeah.
All right, I got 2 hot takes actually. Mm-hmm. First one is Attack on Titan is probably the best anime in the last 20 years to come out.
Mm-hmm.
like bar none. I know
Yeah.
everyone's going to hit me and say Super Dragon Ball, no, or
What?
Dragon Ball Super, no,
What? No.
no,
Oh
no.
God. Get better taste, people.
Attack on
Jesus.
Titan is better than My Hero. Yes, I
Yeah.
went there. I know a lot of people are
Okay.
going like, "Oh, it's not better than My Hero." It's better than My Hero. Like
Yeah.
this is top tier shonen anime.
This is
Like
the best that shonen can be, I
yeah,
think.
yeah, there you
Literally, it
go.
is the peak. I don't think any shonen can ever be better than this show because there's many that have been good over the years, that we've all enjoyed. Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball, Naruto,
Mhm.
Bleach, even, One
Bleach, yeah.
Piece.
One Piece. Yep.
But this is the one, okay? This is the
This
one.
is peak.
This is it, guys. This is the peak because I used to be a famous, not famous, but famous amongst my friends, Attack on Titan critic. Okay, I sincerely dislike this show because the main character was the worst.
And that was my second hot take. I think
Yes,
season 1 through 3, Aaron is the worst MC I've
the
ever encountered.
fucking worst. He's horrible. He can't do anything right. He's constantly getting saved by people. It's just bad. Okay, he's annoying as shit. He's frustrating as a character to watch, but
Yeah,
he transforms into
man.
something beautiful. And you know, I've now read the manga up to. There's only 2 chapters left in the manga that are coming out, and I've read up, to current.
Mhm.
And I really like where he goes. I'm just gonna say that. So
Okay.
I think this is one of the best shonens I've ever seen, and it turned my season 4 changed my opinion. Okay, because I didn't like Aaron, and now I do like him, and I like the arc of the show overall, the story
Yeah,
overall.
yeah.
Because,
The arc is
dude,
really good.
watching it again, I've seen it already and I know what happened. So I'm really like examining it this time and analyzing it. And dude, when I tell you that this author like just had it all
He
planned
had
out,
had it planned out,
he had it
mapped
all
out. I
planned
told you
out.
when you watch it again, and
Man, it's
you're gonna
fucking
love
nuts,
it.
bro. The breadcrumbs are there. They're all there. It's super obvious too, watching it again, like what the breadcrumbs are. But the first time you see it, you don't know anything. So you have no idea that they're breadcrumbs. It's like, even if you're specifically looking for breadcrumbs, you're not really going to suss it out. And that's how well told the story is and how well laid out it is, and the way information is given to you and the characters
Yeah,
at the same time, that you're figuring it out with them. And that's the fun of the story, and that's why it's so thrilling, because it's like, it's so fast paced too, that yeah, you learn a lot. It's great. The show's
well,
fucking great.
yeah. I was really impressed. It's I think it's gonna end with like maybe 60 episodes. I think maybe 50 or 60
No,
episodes.
we're actually at 70.
70. Okay,
I
so
think
maybe
we're gonna be
80.
more. I think we're gonna be closer to 90.
Okay,
Because this season's being broken into 2 parts, supposedly, and I think there's only 16 slated for this first part, and
okay.
we're at 12 right now. I think just released on Sunday, so there's 4 more to go, and then I think there's probably 16 to 20 episodes of story left after that. That
Okay.
would be my guess. So,
Well, I think the last anime, like short run anime, to do this for me personally,
mhm.
that doesn't really go past that 100 episode mark is like maybe Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. That
Yeah.
was a really good shonen. Or if
Well,
you want to consider that a shonen, that
yeah.
was a really good anime in general.
Hmm.
I think that one had a really good story arc, but it,
Yeah.
it didn't lay out. It had breadcrumbs too, like this one,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
didn't. It wasn't as appealing. It was a really good show. No, don't get me wrong, people,
Hmm.
but it wasn't as mysterious, as I should say, as Attack on Titan is. Like you
Yeah.
get the whole lay of the land in Full Metal Alchemist. You are actually like in Attack on Titan, you are growing with these characters and discovering this world
Hmm.
with everyone. And then you
Yeah.
discover this whole, well, I don't want to give a spoiler for everybody else, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Careful.
yeah. So you discover this whole other thing, and it's fucking crazy, like
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the reason I think the reason the show is so resonant with me now is that it is ending.
yeah,
That's the issue with many other shonens, is that when they get popular the way Attack on Titan has, there's a extreme temptation to never end it. And that completely ruins these stories, because that's what happened to Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, even, it's just like they're too long, and
yeah.
no story needs to be as long as those shows, you know. But they made money, so it is what it is. But Attack on Titan is a nice length. If we end at 90 episodes, okay, that's long for a like a contained anime, but the story's good enough that like it's not a problem in this case. And I know Full Metal Alchemist is similar. That show's not that long. It's not that many episodes. So yeah, I mean, I highly recommend it. This isn't an anime podcast, but
It isn't, but yeah,
I've been
I'm sorry,
simping on that show hard
man.
this past couple weeks. So
Yeah, man. I think this is gonna be our. I just hope it don't end like Game of Thrones, but this is probably our Game of Thrones of anime. Like,
I don't think it will.
yeah, I don't think it's gonna end bad at all. I
No.
don't think they're gonna change anything. If the manga's
Oh,
pretty
you mean
good,
the actual anime? Okay,
yeah,
I understand what you mean. I see.
yeah,
I see. Okay,
yeah. So
gotcha. Yeah. Well, that was that's Montrell playing League of Legends. He has so much to say about it. We just diverted on anime for 5 minutes.
I actually was watching Attack on Titan, like doing another watch through while I was playing League of Legends. So yeah,
Man, there you go, man. Okay, so I've been playing 3 games. Apex, not much to say there. Still having a lot of fun with that, but that's like my therapy game at this point. If I'm stressed out. Also, I bought Bravely Default 2, and I've started playing that. I've only put about 10 hours into it, but I do want to say that I like this game, man.
okay.
I think this is a good game. I don't think the game's going to be hyper complicated. It is basically an old school Final Fantasy game in the modern day. That's pretty much what it is. I mean, the story is set around the crystals, like the old Final Fantasy games were. There's the job system like the old Final Fantasy games had. It's a turn-based, JRPG, just like the old Final Fantasy games were. And it's solid though. Like it's just good. Like it's just well made. The game is good. I'm not like this isn't going to be the best game I play this year. Definitely not. Actually, it's probably already lost that crown to Neo, Neo 2. But it's a really good game, and if you're into that style of JRPG, then I think this is worth picking up. What I will say though, so far, is that I'm already noticing the need to grind a little bit. It's not like hyper necessary, but the way I play these games, like it's already eating away at me. Like I'm trying to max out the first job because it like gives you a passive that increases the amount of job points you get from battles.
Okay.
And I'm the kind of person who's like, man, I can't pass that up. Like I got to get that on all 4 party members. Not just one. So I'm that kind of psycho who just like will grind until I get that and probably outscale the game's content at some point. But yeah, the it's pretty. It's pretty like basic in that regard, though. It's turn based. It has the Brave and Default system from the first 2 games. You can bank up turns and use them, or you can borrow against future turns and use them all at once if you want. Which is still a cool system that is a really nice wrinkle to the way those turn-based games work. Also, random battles are gone, like I said when I was talking about the demo last week, which is nice. That's always a nice thing in these games. That's always my biggest criticism of them, is that if I don't want to battle, I like the option to not have to. So
yeah.
So yeah, Montreal, you still planning on getting this or?
Yeah. I already passed up my funds, so I'm trying to save up some money for something, just to move and everything like that. So.
Fair enough.
When I bought Neo, that was like probably my Bravely Default money.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Hey, man, you made the right choice. Okay, so yeah, Montreal and I have both been playing Neo 2, and he's playing it probably because I'm playing it. And I got him into it this weekend, and it's the game's fucking good, man. What can I say? So yeah, Montreal, sorry, go ahead.
They added those 2 new weapons. The
fists and the split staff.
Yeah, split staff and the fists. Let me tell you, even when we weren't playing and I went back to my main character, I'm about to max out fist on them. Like I had the tonkas and I'm like, this is just not hating for me. The fists, man. Woo, that weapon, man, is really fucking good. Like really fucking good.
Well, so how much have you played? So we played on Saturday. Had you played before that or no? because you hadn't downloaded the game right before we started playing. So we played Saturday. We started co-oping and we made characters together, and then we played all night. And then you started playing Sunday, and then I'm assuming you played yesterday a little bit too. Like how far have you gotten again? Are you like further than we are, or where are
Well,
you at?
I'm in the third region with my new character. I mean, with my
Jesus Christ, man. Oh crap.
so I'm in the third region.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't touched the other character, like the one that we're playing with.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, you better not.
yeah, and because you
Shit.
won't get online, so I don't know what's going on.
Well, okay. Well, this is my problem. Okay, I've got 3 different characters I'm playing right now. Right, so I'm playing the one with you. I already had one with my brother. That's a different character, and then I'm playing one solo too. So, we're gonna have to figure out time where we can play together.
Yeah,
It's gonna be tough because I still want to play Apex, and so yeah, I'm playing. I'm playing with you. I'm playing Dual Swords and Odachi, I think, right? I think that's right.
yeah. You are. Yeah.
Yeah, and then with my brother, I'm playing Hatchets and the Switchglaive. And then I'm on my solo character. I'm playing Split Staff and Tonfa.
Wow, that's an interesting combination.
I'm using a lot of different weapon types. And man, let me tell you, when I say, I mean, that's over half the weapons in the game that I'm using, and man, all 6 of those are fucking hella fun. Like, it's amazing to me that they made that 11 different weapons that feel so different from each other and have different kind of purposes, amongst them. And it's just the depth of this game continues to boggle the mind, because I started making the solo character, man, and I'm playing this game so much at this point that I'm really starting to like learn how to play it deeply. I was fucking annihilating the early levels when I was playing it by myself. Like I'm at the point where I'm like switching weapons mid combo and like doing like stance swapping, between stances when I'm doing my key pulses and stuff. I never did that shit. It's a lot to wrap your head around, but I'm at the point now where I was like doing that solo, and I was doing it without even thinking about it either. I would like catch myself doing it, and I'd be like, "Holy shit, that was like a really good combo," Like I just like kept the combo going and going and going and going, by stance swapping. So it's like this game, it's really addictive right now. It's definitely what I was looking for in a new game after Persona 5. I just needed something like different from that, that wasn't like story focused or anything like that, So I'm planning on going really deep with this game. I don't know if I'm going to burn out, playing 3 different characters, but we'll see how far I get, What about you? Are you planning on going all the way with it? You're going to do all the DLCs and, maybe even end game stuff?
Yeah, because I was like, I'm crazy and I like to look up in game builds and stuff like that, or 1 through 100 builds and stuff. And I wanted to see how far, like, what you can really do with the um, fist and stuff like that. Because I'm that type of person, like, I don't want to invest something if it's just going to look stupid. Like, the early games are going to look like the end game. I don't want to invest in it. And that's a really bad habit for me, but that's just how I am sometimes. But yeah, the stuff that you can do with the fist are insane. So I'm really going to invest in that, and I'm probably going to try to go through the whole DLC, like if I can.
Okay. Well, the game does have a new game plus feature as well. So, there's more after you beat the game if you want to if you want to go down that path, And this game's end game is actually pretty deep. There's something I discovered when I was looking through menus yesterday. I was looking at the titles in the title menu, and there's a title for doing something called I forget the exact name of it. It was like demonic stratum or something like that. And this is it's something that has multiple floors. So it's some sort of, it sounds to me like some sort of end game level where there's like floors and you probably fight waves of enemies, I'm imagining, on these floors, and then you get a ton of loot depending on how far you go. And I'm like, man, this game's gonna suck my soul away. Because it's funny that the same thing is happening with this game that happened with Persona 5, because I put it off for a year, and didn't play it, and now all the DLC's out, so I'm basically playing the complete version of the game. essentially, and I'm probably going to be better for it, you know, because this game, because yeah, the split staff is a really absolutely cool weapon, man. Like, because you can. There's two different forms it has. There's the staff form, and then you can split it apart, and it turns into this like 3-section nunchuck thing that you're like flipping around and shit. It's like freaking crazy, dude. I just think the variety in the weapons is really cool too. You know, it's similar to Monster Hunter in that way, I think, in terms of how much there is to do with each weapon. You know, it's there are some that are a little bit weaker than others. I will say the split staff's interesting because it actually does not have that many like combo moves the way some of the other weapons do.
Yeah.
It's a little lighter on that, which I'll see how that goes, I guess, you know, as I play it more. But so far it's very riveting. So I don't have a problem with it.
Well, I discovered something. I don't know. You probably already knew this shit, but I'm assuming this probably was in the first Neo. But like, even if you're on the map, and I don't even
Yeah.
know how it happened. Oh, I know what happened. Silas like was like on my controller while I was gone, and I was just on the world map, and and we went over like a random area that had nothing, like it wasn't any nodes there or anything. Like my controller rumbled. I'm like, what the fuck? So I did it again, and I went back to the area, and yeah, I found like a random item. So you can just find random items on the map, and I didn't know that. Like the game
that's
doesn't tell you
it's
that.
a hidden thing. Yeah, it's a hidden thing in the game. There's actually a trophy for finding all of them. I think every region has at least one, but it's actually kind of cool because you click on it and it gives you the item, but there's also like a lore blurb as well in there. And yeah, we were talking about this Saturday too, like who our character is. Dude, I restarted the game on Sunday and actually was like reading everything and like paying attention to the game. And they, dude, the game's quote at the beginning is talking about somebody named Hideyoshi, and everyone calls you Hide, you know. So Hideyoshi like united Japan, and that I think that's who we're playing as. So that's what it sounds like. So yeah, it's interesting.
Okay, all right. So this is why I think machines, and this is going to sound so fucking not larpy but conspiracy theorists, but this is why I think the machines are listening to us, like everything, right? So yeah, we're playing this game, and I got to the part where you encounter Oda Nobunaga again.
Yeah.
And how his goal is to reunite Japan and everything like that, because you're in the 1500s, where in actual Japanese history, like everybody was just like fucking fighting everybody. Like
yeah, there were a bunch of like feudal lords and everything.
Yeah, a bunch of civil wars going on, everything. And that guy you just mentioned, Hideyoshi, he actually does in actual Japanese history, he actually unites everyone. So okay, so in Neo 2 as well, you can do these online battles called clan battles, and they have all these different clans that you can join. I don't know if you did it yet. I just did. I just saw it was about. But yeah, they have all these different clans and all these different symbols. Each one of those clans are actual clans that fought in the 1500s. Like their symbols and everything, and which is weird because I turned on Netflix the day after we stopped playing. After the same night we stopped playing. And I was like, I'm about to go to sleep to some Netflix or whatever. Kid you the fuck not. Netflix has some kind of special on where they just did like they did their own Netflix documentary series where they reenact everything, and they have like the audio or the historians talk over it, and they're reenacting stuff. It's the same era, like the battle for Japan. That's what it's called, or whatever. And I fucking kid you not, they mentioned all the leaders that you play. Like
we're running into,
we're running into. It's like the first 4 episodes. Like I'm like, holy shit! Like I played.
I mean, everyone knows Oda Nobunaga. Like, I mean, he's like the most famous one for sure.
Yeah. But the Hideyoshi, like I didn't know about him until after, and like the whole history behind how he even reunited Japan after Nobunaga was like fucking crazy, as well as some Game of Thrones shit. Like that whole thing is like Game of Thrones, pretty much, like really crazy. Anyway, so I know this is not a history podcast. I'm sorry, y'all. It's coming back to video games.
But this is the game, though. This is the story the game's telling. You know,
but there's a clan. Cool. Okay, so first there's the other clan called Hoyo, and their clan symbol is literally the Triforce. It's the Triforce from Zelda. It's fucking crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm shitting in the room, like I'm geeking out. I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy. So then they were talking about before Hideyoshi reunited, he had to go against this one guy called the One-Eyed Dragon.
Yeah,
I heard that boss probably is somewhere in some games. That's not the crazy part. The One-Eyed Dragon had to go against another clan. Guess what that clan name was?
what was it?
Ashina.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh, that's awesome, man.
So I just thought
Oh
that shit
shit,
was pretty fucking crazy.
that's fucking sick, man. Yeah. Hey, man. Any Sekiro reference we can get in, let's do it. That's pretty cool. Yeah. No, these games are cool. I think that's the cool part about because even the first Neo did this too, is that you were playing as like an English character. His name was William, and but you were going through events sort of that sort of happened in history.
Yeah.
So it seems like they're doing similar stuff here, and they're telling their own version of history.
Yeah.
Which I like. I like that though. I think that's really a cool thing. This is something that Western video games don't fucking play with really almost at all. And when they do, they don't do it very well.
Yeah, the only game that really did it well, but they did an alternate timeline thing, was Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
Wolfenstein did it really well.
Yes. And then Assassin's Creed, I guess, but
yeah, I forgot about Assassin's Creed.
they're at this point they're not even like trying to make it different. They're just like they're just trying to make it like historically accurate almost. So yeah, I think Neo and Sekiro both do this too, and it's really like cool. In my opinion, Japanese history is very fascinating.
It is. I like how they incorporate like the mysticism in there, and like I guess Western, we don't really do that, because I'm gonna say like Resistance, that whole game was like taking place during World War II, but it was a spin on it because the aliens invaded during World War II. So I thought that was really cool, but it's not like we're replaying the events or whatever. Like I think it would be cool, right? This is gonna be so fucking. Have you ever watched JoJo's Bizarre Adventures?
Like a few episodes, yeah.
Okay, I don't know if you know about the stands that they have, like the little like after images. They're like pretty much like personas. Imagine like like Paul Revere or somebody having a fucking persona.
Dude, I need that in my life. An American Revolution anime where everyone's like an obnoxiously powerful anime character. Yeah, we're like Paul Revere. Yeah, like George Washington's like just this like super powerful dude. Like, oh man, dude.
So I think we need that. I need some studio, wherever. If you know somebody, if anyone listening knows somebody who knows somebody, tell them to do that, because I would play that shit. I would play the hell out of that shit.
Oh, I'd play the hell out of a game like that, or watch an anime like that too, where it's just like a really stylized take on the American Revolution. No, that sounds really fucking cool, man. That's my point about Western games, is like they don't play with that very much. It's maybe, I don't know, maybe it's too recent, I guess. But to me, it's like,
think so. Well, I guess you can say that, yeah, because even the English do that with their stuff. I mean, medieval and all the the retellings and stuff like that. I mean, it's just nothing but England, like fucking conquering everybody. So I don't know.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think of a game, that like, I mean, there are Civil War games, and there's plenty of games that take place in World War II, but it's it's literally always like a shooter, though. It's not the way Neo and Sekiro do it. Where it's like a kind of a, like you said, there's like mysticism thrown into it. Like yokai are a part of the world of Neo, even though they're not real. They integrate that into the story of the game, though. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I really like this game.
Yeah, it's really
cool.
cool.
I talk it up every time I talk about it. I sound like a fucking fanboy, I'm sure, but it's just, I mean, hey, man, you even like exclaimed it on Twitter this weekend, like, man, Neo 2 is just fucking good, man. And it is. It just is.
I just think it gets overshadowed by the genre
Sekiro,
that,
for sure.
Well, yeah, it gets overshadowed by the genre that it tried to break. It tried to grab that audience, I would say, but when the audience would come to it, the audience that will gravitate towards it is not the audience they need. They need like Devil May Cry people or something like that. They don't need Dark Souls people. And I'm
No,
like both.
because the game's different from Dark Souls, man.
Yeah.
It's not like that game. It's like the statistical systems are similar. The way they do statistics and leveling is
Yeah.
very similar. And you have the shrines, which are your bonfire surrogate. But the game though, the actual like combat, swinging your weapons and dodging and the stamina system and all that shit, that is completely unique to this game.
Yeah.
And nothing like Dark Souls in any way, really. And in terms of speed, it's its own thing, it's nothing like Sekiro, like nothing like Sekiro. These two games couldn't be further apart to me in how they play,
Oh yeah, you're right,
um
100%. I
and
just think like Neo
yeah.
1, like for me, the reason I skipped it because I'm not even gonna hold you, and this is like probably the most
Hmm.
dumbest thing is just don't judge a book by its cover. But it was the cover art, and I'm
Yeah,
like Williams literally fucking Geralt. Like this is gonna be a bootleg Richard
yeah.
Dragon
Man,
Dark Souls ripoff type deal. Because I saw the
yeah.
gameplay, I'm like, whatever.
That's how it was positioned though, and I feel like the media positioned it that way, and I also
Yeah,
think the studio kind of positioned it
they
that
did.
way
Yeah,
in the way they showed the game. And they did their own game a disservice,
yeah,
because
I agree
this
with
game
that.
is so much more. This game is so much more than that, because dude, this like ninjutsu, onyo magic, which are dude, these are builds you can play the game with, like you can literally be an onmyo mage and like cast spells at people, and early on you don't have enough of it where you can run through a whole mission with it. But I'm sure like later on when you're leveled enough, like I'm sure you have a lot at your disposal that you can use.
Well, that's the thing. They
Um
didn't pivot the game like that. They didn't pivot the
yeah.
game where I can do ninjutsu or all this other shit like that. Because you can even do that in Neo 1. And it's like
Yes.
when I watch late game footage of Neo 1, I'm like, this game is nothing like what I thought it was. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
crazy.
It is fucking crazy. Yeah.
So
Yeah. And there's boss fights too where you're fighting two bosses at once at one time by yourself. That's how bonkers the developers of this game are. Like Team Ninja, they're psychos, dude. Like they are absolute psychopaths.
you
Like
gotta
they
tell me
they will bludgeon people to death with their game, like they do not care. And I love it. I love it. I love it.
you do not have to
You
tell
know?
me I
Yeah.
played through the fucking god damn it. What's that game called? Team
Oh,
Ninja.
Ninja Gaiden?
Ninja Gaiden. I played through all
Yeah.
three of them, and God, Jesus, let me tell you,
Glutton for punishment, right?
yeah,
Like,
man.
yeah, dude. No. These guys are they don't, that whole discussion about like, oh yeah, there's gotta be an easy mode. These guys don't give a shit. Like no one, they don't care at all. Like the game is accessible enough where you could probably get through it if you're not very good at it. It's actually easy enough that where you can do that, but there are some parts of it, certain missions where they take the cap off of the difficulty and just start throwing shit at you that is fucking insane. Like I said, those two bosses, I remember in the first game it was like a secret side boss, basically like an end game like side boss. I think you were fighting Oda Nobunaga and like some woman who was an onmyo mage together at the same time, and by themselves these two bosses would be challenging,
Mhm.
but you're fighting them both at the same fucking time, dude. And imagine that. Imagine having to deal with that in this game. Fighting two enemies in this game is so fucking hard, because like you cannot attack and block at the same time. So you're just like finding windows of opportunity to hit either one of them is really hard. So the game's crazy. I actually think there was even a boss where you fought three bosses at once. If I'm not misremembering this, it
I
was
would
like,
not. I would not put
yeah,
it past Team Ninja. Like Team
yeah,
Ninja
yeah.
is if you played the fucking Ninja Gaiden games,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm sad that you. I don't think you did play them.
I did not.
Yeah, I'm sad that you didn't play them. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, those games are fucking insane. And it's not like they are combo intensive games, but you can get through the game without playing combos. You can kind of cheese it and whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
man.
Neo is kind of the same way. There's
Yeah,
enough tools in the toolbox that the basics will be able to get you through the game. If you
yeah,
don't learn how to do combos and like stance switching, you don't have to learn that stuff.
yeah.
That's like if you really want to get crazy good at the game. But if you do get good at the game, that's the thing about this game that I love about it, though, is that I was fighting the first boss again with my solo character, and I remember I broke his key. You know, I knocked his key all the way down. So, you know, you're able to that's the thing. When you knock an enemy's key down, you can stagger them pretty much endlessly. As long as you can keep your combo going, they will not be able to do anything. And this goes for yokai as well, and including bosses. And I broke his key, and it was at about halfway, and I comboed him all the way down, where I knocked his key bar all the way, like his like maximum key bar. I knocked it all the way down to 0, and then I got to do a finisher on him. And dude, it was so fucking satisfying to do that to the boss. I was like, man, dude, when you're good at this, like it hits, you know, like it feels really good, and your character is really potent as well. So yeah, I adore this game. I really do. And I'm excited that I'm playing it right now, and I'm just like absorbed in it, and I don't have another game that I need to play really. Like I'm playing Bravely Default 2, but you know, I can kind of play that on the side.
I think I'm just gonna just max out in this game until 26. Monster Hunter comes out, because I know once Monster Hunter come out, I'm just gonna, you know, me and you are just gonna, hey man, you playing tonight? Yeah, let's go. Let's fucking play.
Man. Okay, but you told me, and we didn't report this on this, but there's a rumor going around that Monster Hunter Rise might be coming to PC next year.
Yeah.
And man, I don't know. It's making
you
me
might
a little
get
hesitant,
PC instead.
It's making me a little hesitant, because you know that PC release is going to come with G rank. You know.
You're right.
And that's what I want. I want that. You know. So we'll see. We'll see where I am with Neo. We got like 3.5 weeks. How much of it I can get through by the 26th. But yeah, I mean, Neo 2, you got anything else you want to say? I'm sure we'll talk about it more next week, and you know, as we keep playing it. But
no, I think I'm all right for right now.
Okay. All right. Okay. God, we're 40 minutes into the show already, and we're just getting into the news. It's gonna be a meaty show, guys. So let's move into the news. Montrell, we had a state of play. We did mention this at the end of last week. And it was about 30 minutes, I'd say. And yeah, these events they're disappointing. Okay. This was not great. But we'll go game by game here and discuss real quick what we think of each game. So they started with Crash 4, you know, they're showing footage of it that we've seen before, and they're saying, oh, it's coming to PS5, and you know, it's gonna have 60 frames, 4K, and all this stuff. And they spent 3 minutes on this, by the way. I mean, Montrell, is this an opening that you can appreciate, or are you just like, what the hell, you know?
I think that's a trend now, to be honest with you. Like, even Nintendo did something like this. They started with a game everyone already knew about. So I don't like that trend, and I hope it dies. That's it.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, we don't need to talk about that anymore. And the next one was okay, so this was like probably one of the only ones that was worthwhile to me. Was Returnal was the second game they showed, and this is Housemarque's game. This is a second party game for Sony, not first party, but it is an exclusive for PS5, and it's coming on April 30th. We've seen a good amount of the game, but they really showed us some more here. They actually started showing gameplay and diving a little bit into what the story might hold for us. Montrell, what did you think of this game?
It's definitely not a first day buy, but I'm very interested in it. The gameplay looks really cool, and it looks like it's going to have a really deep story, so I'm all for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you. It does look cool. I don't know if I'm not sure I'm the target audience for this game. I don't know why. It just doesn't feel like my kind of game. But I need to see more of it probably. But this was kind of necessary given that it's coming out soon, in like a month and a half, the end of April. So they really did need to show this game. I kind of wish they had shown more. I almost expect that we will get a state of play dedicated to it in like maybe a month or so. Because I think this game is $70, so they really need to sell that. You know, that this game is worth that amount of money.
Well, I just like how it's a gamey game.
Yeah.
Even though the story is super serious, it looks like, but it's like I'm watching the gameplay footage of it, and it's just like it's such a gamey game, like almost what I would think like a Mega Man game would be if it was a third person, almost like Mega Man Legends style, you know. So it's crazy to me. So
I mean, it does look cool. There's a lot of movement and stuff. And the enemies look pretty vicious.
Yeah.
As well, and it kind of looks. I mean, it looks pretty scary and grotesque as well. Like this does not look like a very forgiving world. So, we'll see though. Okay, next game they showed was I forget the name of this game, but it was like a dodgeball battle royale game. Knockout City. That's right. This is from EA. So yeah, it's like a dodgeball team based like dodgeball game where you like you're like throwing dodgeballs at people and trying to knock them out basically. But you can like catch the ball and you can do all these trick shots and stuff. Montreal, yeah, yeah.
That's how it was.
No go, no go.
It is free to play, right? This is a free to play
Yes,
game.
it is going
Yeah,
to be free to play. Yep.
I'll give it a shot. It's just it looks fun. I just, in my opinion, I don't think it's worth like a state of play thing. It,
Mhm.
I'm glad they just went straight into gameplay. It didn't show whatever they showed back at the other one, or did they do that
Yeah.
this one? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh no, that was the Switch one where they had like the whole little, people talking and everything like
Yeah,
that.
they showed it. They showed it on the Nintendo Direct a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, it looks cool. I like what they're going for. It's a different thing, and I've been asking for different stuff, so I do like that about it. I just didn't think it was worthy of a state of play type deal. Like we
Yeah.
already know what's going on with
Yeah.
it and everything like
Yeah.
that. So
I think it looks cool though. Not gonna lie, it actually looks like an appealing game. Like, I think it could be pretty fun, but the problem is, it's only gonna be fun though if I have friends to play it with.
yeah,
It's
I'll
like,
play it. Like I said, I
yeah,
think it looks really cool. I just don't think it will. It was worth the state of play, but yeah, it looks like a game I would play. I would want to play with friends, or even like if they had like
yeah,
a personal or a private lobby type situation, like get
yeah,
six of us
yeah.
in there. And,
That could be pretty fun actually.
yeah,
But yeah, the way characters move though, like, I'm not gonna say the graphical style reminds me of Fortnite, but the way the characters run looks exactly like fucking Fortnite, and I cannot get that out of my brain when I'm watching it, and I hate it. I
well,
can't stand it.
they're
So
definitely trying to target the kids.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, for sure, for sure, for sure.
the
Um,
problem is like I don't know if EA figured it out, but I hope they got rid of that whole Origins thing. They need to get rid of that thing and just let kids play the game if they want to play it on whatever console it comes out on. That's the success of Fortnite. You just download it and play it. Like you don't have to do anything special,
yeah,
So
I think that's always been an issue with a lot of these companies, with their online services. Like Blizzard's got BattleNet, and it's so annoying. Like I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it on my computer. I don't need every company to have one of these stupid things. So yeah, but the game itself though looks mildly interesting. So if we do check it out, we'll let you guys know. Okay, next game they showed was okay. This like looked like they were like trying to recreate the fight scene from Daredevil, the hallway fight scene. Like because this was the game Sifu, where it was just like a beat 'em up of some sort. Um, but what did you think of this one,
I
Montreal?
am super hyped for this game.
Okay.
It reminds me of that one game I actually did not play, but I watched a lot of gameplay footage of it. It's called
Mm,
Absolver, which is like
yeah.
a online beat 'em up. Like you'll be in this
Mm,
world and like random people will come up to you and try to fight you, and they're actual other players.
yeah.
Um, so I thought it was pretty cool, and it looks exactly like that. Um, but looks like it's going to be like a single player story campaign thing, and I like these type of games where you can have style switch ups and just fight with your hands and things of that nature.
Mm,
So I'm looking forward to it. It looks really fucking cool to me.
fair enough. All right. Next game they showed was Solar Ash. This is from the guys who made Transistor. And this is some sort of third person platformer, but also has like Shadow of the Colossus type boss enemies that you fight,
Yeah.
as well as like world exploration and puzzles and whatnot. Montreal, does this one appeal to you?
Uh, I don't know why, but no, not really too much.
Same,
I thought it
same.
would, but it should actually. It's really fast paced. It's kind of up my alley, but it's like I don't know
Mhm.
why this. It's like I've seen it before, type of deal.
Well, I heard someone else compare it to the Pathless, which is another indie that came out at the launch on PS5, and it actually kind of does, in terms of the character movement and stuff.
Mm,
So that might be what you're thinking of.
okay.
So it may be a matter of timing with these guys. They might have missed their window potentially, but this is a good studio though.
Yeah.
So um, we'll see how people respond to this game, I guess. The next one, I don't even want to talk about this. Dude, they spent like 3 minutes on a Five Nights at Freddy's.
Hey man, that game made a lot of money, so I
How
guess.
many times are they going to show? Dude, they've shown this though in State of Plays before. You
Really?
know?
This
Yes.
particular one?
How many fucking times? Same with Crash, dude. They've shown Crash like 3 times in State of Plays. You know?
Well, they
It's
consider
like,
Crash like the hallmark of Sony, right? Like that's their mascot. So
yeah.
I expect to see that, or was their mascot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I wasn't too impressed with it. I'm like, oh, cool, another Five Nights at Freddy game, but
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really too impressed with it. And yeah, they spent too much time on it, in my opinion. So
Yeah. Yeah, and then they showed another game they've shown several times on State of Plays is Oddworld.
yeah, that was another one they could have like just briefly mentioned.
And
I did.
they spent a lot of time on this one, 3 or
Yeah,
4
because
minutes
they
at
showed
least.
a lot of gameplay footage and all the extra stuff that you can do.
Yep.
But I feel like Oddworld has its cult following, and they're gonna buy the game, and the game's gonna make its money back regardless.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess because it's coming soon, it is coming out in April, which is next month.
Mm-hmm.
They were gonna show more, and it's free on PS Plus. Wow, that's crazy.
Yes, it's gonna be free on PS Plus.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe because it's just not my type of game. I thought it was a waste of time, but a lot of people love Oddworld. I used to like
Mm-hmm.
it, but I mean, I don't really like it anymore. I kind of grew up out of it, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Feel you. Next one, which we've also seen in several State of Plays at this point, is so they pronounce the character's name Kina, I think.
Yeah.
Kina Bridge of Spirits is what it's called. I've been calling it Kenna, so I don't know. But they did actually show some extensive footage of this game now, and a lot more gameplay. This game looks beautiful. There's no other way for me to like explain it than that. Like it's like movie quality animation, and models and stuff. But in terms of the gameplay you saw, were you impressed?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I've
I agree.
I've been looking forward to this game since they showed
Yep.
it the PS5 trailer for the
Mhm.
in general.
Yep.
And I was super bummed when they pushed the game back. I think they did.
Yes, they did. Multiple times.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, needs more time to be perfected, then do what you gotta do. So I wasn't really. I knew they weren't going to cancel the game at all. But this game is giving me. I didn't know this team actually made the that fake Zelda trailer from Majora's Mask way back when.
Oh yeah.
Um, if you guys remember that, they made a trailer for Majora's Mask and the Unreal Engine at the time. I think it was like Unreal 3, and people were like going fucking crazy when they hit the internet, but it wasn't Nintendo, it was just like a fan made trailer. And they did that, and this is their style, and I actually like it. I like this game too because it's like it looks like the Zelda I actually want it. So
yeah.
and the gameplay, it looks like a little bit. It has the Zelda, and I want to say Pikmin because you got the little monsters helping you out and everything like that. I think the game looks fucking phenomenal. Like it looks fucking phenomenal, but not only does it look fucking phenomenal, but it looks like it plays phenomenal as well. It's not really complicated, like super combat-y or anything like that. It's just like a fun game to just sit back and play, like a Zelda game. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this one, I'm definitely anticipating this. I do think I'm going to be getting this when it comes out, especially when it's coming out. I like the fact that they pushed it to August. It's coming August 25th.
Nothing's coming out that around.
Right. That is usually a dead period in gaming, and it's going to be the perfect time for this game to come out, in my opinion. I actually think this delay is really going to benefit them sales-wise because they're getting out of this crowded spring period and into a window where they could actually potentially be the game everyone's talking about. You know? So that's good news for them. So yeah, looking forward to that one. And then I think there were only 2 more games. Another game we've seen plenty in State of Plays is Deathloop. They showed it again, and they showed an extensive trailer, like a very extensive trailer for it. And this was actually a really nice trailer. And this game continues to look really good to me. I'm pretty excited for it. But
I'm still in the fence, but it was one part where they were like teleporting and shooting, and I was like, oh, that shit looks fucking cool.
yeah, man, that's like Dishonored. I mean, these are the guys who made Dishonored, so that's
Yeah.
kind of what that game that's from. That kind of combat is from that game.
Okay.
So everybody does say the combat in that game is pretty good. Like most people I've seen talking about that game, is that the combat is good in those games. So, yeah, this game looks really cool. They had that like James Bond kind of music playing in the background
Yeah,
too, which was funny. So that was a really good trailer. That one's coming in May. They actually didn't put a date on it in the trailer, but the last time we had heard about it, it was coming in May. So.
Yeah.
We'll see if it gets delayed again, but hopefully not. Okay, and then the last game they showed was Final Fantasy VII Remake is getting a free upgrade to PS5 if you own it on PS4, but it's also getting a DLC, and it's Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade is what it's called, and it is going to have Yuffie in it, and she's going to be a playable character, it seems, and you're going to play through some kind of story segment with her in Midgar, it looks like, as well. So are you going to play this when it comes out?
I am. Only gripe I have. Wait, when does the free upgrade come out?
I don't think they said.
All right, because I thought.
Oh no, it is. Oh no, sorry, June 10th.
June 10th. Okay.
Yeah.
So, because the way they made it seem like was you have to get Integrate to get the free upgrade. That's what it made.
But you do not.
But you don't. But they made it seem like that. So that was my.
No,
first
you get
gripe.
if you have it on PS4, you get the upgrade for free.
Yeah.
You have to pay for Intergrade separately.
Yeah.
The DLC.
So
we don't know what the price. We don't know what the price of that is.
Wait, no, you do, right? I thought that was $60.
No. The DLC? No, the game with the DLC is going to be 60, I think.
Okay, that was my gripe because I saw $69.99 and it said Final Fantasy Remake Intergrade. I'm like, bitch, I gotta pay $70 for this upgrade. I mean, $70 for the DLC.
No. I think that's if you don't have it, you get the game and the DLC together for $70 on PS5.
Are you sure?
I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, that would be bonkers if the DLC. This DLC better be like fucking 20 hours, bro. Like, because that would be insane to me. So I'm wagering somewhere more in the realm of 30, probably 25 or 30. I would guess.
I hope so, because everything I'm looking at right now says $60 or $70.
Yeah, that'd be nuts, man. Well, hold on. What did they have at the end there? They had something at the end of it. Available worldwide 610. And then it said, oh, I lost it. Oh, no. Oh, here we go. If you own a copy of the PlayStation 4 version, upgrade to the PlayStation 5 version for free. You can even carry over your saved data. And then it says new episode featuring Yuffie. Yep. And then it doesn't give a price. So it doesn't even say a price in here. So I don't even know where you're seeing those numbers from.
Well, yeah, everything I'm seeing right now is just like, I guess it's for the full version. So like you get the game and that, but no one's saying like, hey, you get Yuffie, or this is $49.99 or $39.99 for the DLC. Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah. The combat looked cool with her though. Her combos and stuff look pretty sick, man. So, and I will be honest, I gotta give Nomura some credit, dude. Like, I don't know what it is with him lately, but it just seems like when he's on a project right now, like it's getting fucking done. Like I'm kind of expecting part 2 to this game, to this series in like a year or two. That's kind of where I'm at with it. Like, it just seems like they're ruthlessly efficient.
I think he's passionate about this. I think his passion died for Kingdom Hearts a long time ago.
Hey man, 20 years of games. I mean, shit. I can understand.
Yeah, so I think that's what it was. And then when Kingdom Hearts 3 came about, he was just like, okay, fuck, let's just get it over with. I'm done with it. And I think he's probably going to pass that on to like a protege or something like that. But this game, you can tell like he was like, he really wanted to do this game. I think it's going to be episodic from here on out. I don't think there's going to be, even though the part 2 might come out, I don't think it's going to be like a part
Well,
two. I think it's going to
we're
be like,
starting it, man. This DLC is the beginning of the side games, you know, like
yeah,
the extraneous content that you have to absorb in order to understand the whole story. It's like, you know, I'm like, because yeah, I rolled my eyes when I saw this. You know, I was like, oh no, here we go. You know, it's like, when's the fucking like Nintendo Switch game coming out that's gonna be vital to the Final Fantasy VII remake story? You
don't
know,
say that. I
dude,
will
I'm just
say,
waiting for it, bro. I'm waiting for it.
I
I
will
am
say
waiting
this.
for it.
So
Yeah.
there are two mobile games coming out.
Yes.
The Final Fantasy
Yes.
VII Pocket version. I'm just gonna call it the Pocket Edition of it because it's like Final Fantasy
Mm-hmm.
15 where they had the Pocket Edition of it.
Yeah.
But it had a battle royale called First Soldiers, or just Soldiers, I think, or was it First Soldiers?
Yes. Yeah.
And I watched the gameplay of the battle royale. Right,
Yeah.
I'm actually pretty upset this game's only gonna be on mobile.
Bro, I thought the same thing. I watched this before we started recording because this was our next news story, but you know, we'll talk about it now. And I was watching it and I was like, dude, this looks like it could be awesome as a console game. What are we doing, Square? Come on, man. You know, Final Fantasy Battle Royale sounds like the dumbest thing imaginable, and then they make it look good. They make it look good. You know, the characters are running around with guns, swords, they have summons and magic, and like you can put like protect barriers in front of yourself to block bullets and shit. It's like, what the fuck? You know,
It looks
like
it
damn
could be
it,
very
you know?
tactical, and I'm like,
I know you can like super jump on top of buildings and shit and like propel other people with magic and stuff. It's like,
so I was watching it and I was just thinking like, yo, we could play this. This could be like our alternate to like Apex because it looks like
man.
it looks really
Yeah.
good, yo.
I know, but it's mobile. It's gonna
It's
be on fucking
mobile.
mobile. You know, it's just.
And I understand why
I
they
don't
did that because it's
know.
for their,
I know.
primarily for their Eastern audience who are, primarily mobile.
There would have been
This,
so much backlash if this was an actual like console game.
I
There really would
don't
have
think
been.
so,
But
man. That trailer looks fucking cool. I was like that until I saw it. I'm like, yo, this looks fucking dope as fuck.
No joke, dude. You're like an agent with all these powers, dude. You're just running around fighting other fucking people, you know.
And then like people
It's
are
like,
using like melee combat that looks like from
yep.
Final Fantasy, like the current Final
Yes,
Fantasy.
dude. There's like sword combat and stuff too. Like you seem like you have a lot at your disposal that you can use, you know. And I'm like, damn, man, you know, like the one time something flashes battle royale, and I'm actually like sad that it's not like a real, you know, full-fledged console game, you know.
Yeah.
It sucks. So yeah. The Ever Crisis one though is interesting because that one is like a retelling of the entire Final Fantasy VII saga. So all the games, like Crisis Core, I think all the way through like Advent Children.
Yeah.
That's what it flashed on screen at least. And this looks like actually like kind of good. I can imagine this coming to Switch probably in the future after it's on mobile, its initial release. And this is gonna be kind of cool because, dude, it's like it looks like Final Fantasy VII just like cleaned up, and then they get into combat, and it's like it kind of looks like a scaled down version of Remake, you know. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? You know, like who is making these games at Square? You know, like where are they pulling these studios out of? You know, it's just I don't know where they're finding the time to make all this shit. You know, like because yeah, I don't think there was not like a studio name with either of these trailers. So this could be an internal project, at least the Ever Crisis one. You know, and yeah, I don't know, man. Square's like.
Yeah, this actually does look freaking cool. You know what it reminds me of? I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack from this, but it kind of reminds me of what they wanted 13 to be, like the combat.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But like a better version of that combat. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, 13, you fucking degenerates." You like that game, but if I'm gonna buy this game. No, wait. If this game is a fully fledged game, like a full-fledged game, and I buy it, I have to pay like $20 to get it, I will buy it. But if it's like a free-to-play game, fuck that. I'm not doing that shit.
I think you will have to buy because I think the Pocket Edition of Final Fantasy 15 is a purchase. Like you do have to purchase it, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But Yeah, I mean a lot of Final Fantasy news, Final Fantasy 7 news. So yeah, back to the state of play real quick, Montreal. Sorry, do you have something you want to say?
That's someone said like this like Square forgot to release this 7 years ago. They opened up an old folder. It was like, oh shit.
Yeah, it is kind of what it looks like. But hey, man, that's the glory of mobile, though. You can do that, you know. So yeah, back to the state of play real quick. How'd you feel about it overall? Where are you at with this kind of thing?
Honestly, I think maybe I enjoyed the Switch slightly better.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
It was awful. This was the worst though, dude. Like, because we talked about this last week, right? It got announced on Wednesday, the state of play, and I told I asked you like this. I'm gonna open the kimono a bit for everybody. I asked you like, hey, do we want to record on Thursday and wait for the state of play? And both of us had kind of the same thought, like, no, whatever. We're not expecting much out of this. And then it comes out on Thursday, and I watch it, and I'm like, I am very happy we did not wait to record for this because this was awful. Yeah. Absolutely horrible. This was the worst state of play they've done, period. Like it just was like, it really felt like they had deals with the companies they were showing games for, and they were just checking them off of a list, because there were at least 4 games in here that we've seen in multiple other state of plays in the past, and it's kind of getting ridiculous at this point. Showing Crash again after it's been out for 4 or 5 months is got to be one of the most ridiculous things, when you're only showing 10 games total in your presentation, and it was 33 minutes. This is a waste of everybody's time, like none of this stuff needed to be here. This was not, I don't know. Returnal was like the only thing in here that I was really like, oh, okay, I'm glad we're seeing this, because it's like, dude, you showed no Ratchet and Clank footage, right? And we've not seen very much of this game. It's like they show no new footage for that. They don't show anything of Horizon. They show nothing for God of War, which they're still saying that game's coming out this year. And it's like, at a certain point, just tell us it's fucking delayed. Because if you're not going to show it here, like, when are you going to show it? It's like, when are you going to show any of these games? So that's kind of my thing. It's like, if you're going to do this, you kind of needed to show one of those, any of the 3. It doesn't really matter which one, preferably Horizon. That probably would have been the one to show, really, to get people jazzed. That would have completely changed the tenor of my opinion on this, and maybe that's ridiculous, but that's kind of the point we're at with these things. If you don't have a major announcement and you're not showing something big, something big that people are going to be hyped about, I don't see the point in these events. And this is the same thing we were saying about Nintendo a couple weeks ago. They missed, and especially after being gone for so long, they totally missed because they didn't show us anything big, and they would argue, I'm sure, Splatoon 3, oh, that's big. And oh, Mario Super Golf or whatever the fuck it's called, like, oh, that's big. It's like, but nah, dude, no. Nintendo, those aren't big. Okay, stop it. What we're all here for. It was Zelda's 35th anniversary, like, what we were all there for. So same to Sony though, they haven't done one of these in a while, and this is the best they could do.
I was actually looking forward to them like saying like, hey, and I know this is like a pipe dream, but like, hey, we're gonna have more PS5s in stock.
Yeah, right, dude. Oh man, there's no way they would do that. Man, they piss people off so bad.
I was looking forward to that because I think they really need to jump on this, especially since everything's opened back up. Like, there's no excuse now. I mean, for us in Texas, everything's opened back up, but I feel like,
man, they need to get those PS5s here. Like,
well,
shit, fill those shelves.
This is kind of unrelated to gaming, but did you hear about what happened with Nike?
No.
Okay, so Nike just got exposed. Which I think is actually happens in the gaming. So that's why I'm going to tie it in. Nike got exposed because, like, the same thing that's happening to video games has been happening to fucking shoes since fucking forever.
Right. But they're sold out within 10 seconds. Like, limited edition shoes and stuff.
It used to not be this bad. But because like influencers now are getting like other kids that normally wouldn't be into shoes because of just influence culture and everything of that nature. Like, shoes are selling out at a massive rate. It's ridiculous. Like like little Jimmy wouldn't buy fucking shoes but now that influencers tell
But
him to
now
buy
he's on nowinstock.com waiting
ex-
for Jordans to get
exactly.
dropped, you know.
Exactly. So anyway, it came out. This one influencer took a huge picture like of his like I don't know rental space or whatever, and it's just filled like with these Jordans that are like fucking rare. That I would have to sit in line to get or like be online at 12 o'clock at night, hoping I can get inside it, just massively hitting the refresh button. He did a interview with Bloomberg. Long story short. Turns out his mom is a Nike executive, and he was using his mom's credit card in a bot system to buy fucking Nikes. So she had to resign. And this is where I'm going to tie into video games. I think this shit's happening with us. Like I think,
Yeah.
like, and then it came out too that the sites that people use like StockX, Goat, and Flight Club, and all these other reseller sites are invested by Nike. Like Nike invested in them, and they have like over 50% stakehold in those sites.
So they're trying to perpetuate the problem.
Pretty much, they're making a demand, and I
They
think
they want the hype. They're trying to drive hype. They want the hype to be so high that they could potentially push out
they're
even
double
more
dipping.
of these shoes.
They're
right.
double. They get the
And that too.
Yep. So they get money from that, and then they get money from obviously the reseller sites because you probably get ad revenue and everything of that nature. They don't probably get direct money from that, but other money like that. So I think, like, I don't want to say Xbox and Sony are doing the same thing, but what the fuck, man? Like, because I don't really hear about this stuff with the Switch. I know the Switch is like they sell out, but Nintendo's usually like our property is our property and fuck everyone else. Like, even if you do mean good or whatever. But I don't know. Sony and Microsoft, this is really weird now. It's just getting weird.
I think the thing is, I think of what I'm gonna say though. I don't think it's happening because it's pretty well known that a lot of the electronics right now that are like, that are in demand, they all use the same parts,
Yeah.
And that's always going to be Sony's problem and Xbox's problem is that these devices are way down in the queue of these factories in terms of making them because they're competing against smartphones, in terms of getting those parts. So it's tough, man. They're competing against the graphics cards and shit too. It's like it's not as simple as, I don't want to say it's just like shoes are simple, but it's not as simple as shoes. It's if Nike says we want 1 million shoes made, they're gonna get 1 million shoes made. Whereas Sony says we want 1 million PS5s made, they're gonna be like, well, yeah, we'll get to that in a few months, Sony. Okay, because Apple wants 1 billion iPhones made, so we'll go with them first. So it's I don't know. I think it's a little different, but it is odd though how hard it seems to be to get these things.
Like this late in the game, I don't know. I would expect by now stores will have them. They just don't. It's just the weirdest thing to me. And I understand there's a pandemic, but people have been walking outside. People have been doing everything, going to stores. So it's like, I don't know. That's just in Texas. That's how it's been. I don't know how it is in other states though.
I mean, we've seen it online. I know people that have been struggling to get a PS5. We got lucky, man. We both got lucky that we got in the first wave,
Yeah.
because we'd both still be looking right now probably if we hadn't, and so I am thankful for that for the most part. So yeah, state of play. It was bad, but this is my last point is that Sony and Nintendo, if you're going to schedule one of these things, people are going to tune in. And I think that's why you did this is like, people are going to tune in because it's this big thing. And if you released all these trailers separately on their own, no one would give a fuck about most of these games. So you're taking advantage of that, but you can only do that so many times before we start tuning out. So just be careful. The next one of these better be good. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. We've got more Sony news. This is actually a pretty big deal. So Sony has actually confirmed. This was first reported by Video Game Chronicle. And then Sony confirmed it with their own quote. So, Japan Studio, which is the team that has made many games for PlayStation over the years, Astrobot most recently, Astro's Playroom on PS5, Knack 2, Ape Escape. They worked on Demon Souls back in the day. They also worked on Demon Souls remake. This is also the studio, I believe, that had Team Eco as part of it, making the Shadow of the Colossus, Last Guardian, games like that as well. So there's a lot of games that have come out of the studio over the years. But Video Game Chronicle learned that they are basically letting a humongous amount of their staff go, to the point where Japan Studio is basically not going to exist. And they are folding the team that made Astro's Playroom out, which is, they're called the Sobi team, and they're going to be their own team. Remaining, they may be getting a new name. They're going to form a new studio with them, and then some Japan Studio developers are going to join them as well. But Japan Studio proper seems to be at its end, and this is what Sony said in response to the story, is that, quote, in an effort to further strengthen business operations, SIE can confirm PlayStation Studios Japan Studio will be reorganized into a new organization on April 1st. Japan Studio will be recentered to Team Asobi, the creative team behind Astro's Playroom, allowing the team to focus on a single vision and build on the popularity of Astro's Playroom. In addition, the roles of external production, software localization, and IP management of Japan Studio titles will be concentrated within the global functions of PlayStation Studios, end quote. So, Montreal, I don't know how many of these games you've played.
I've
How
actually
much?
played a lot of these games.
Okay.
I
So,
didn't
how
know.
does this?
I didn't
How are you?
realize it.
How's this hitting you?
I didn't realize they made so many games that I played. I played the Gravity
Mm-hmm.
Rush games.
Yep. Gravity Rush. Yep.
I didn't really
1 and
like
2.
Last Guardian. I
Mm-hmm.
played obviously Demon Souls, Ico, Shadow
Mm-hmm.
of Colossus,
Mm-hmm.
the White Knight Chronicle, the White Knight
That's
Chronicle.
right. They did make that.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
did.
Yep.
And obviously, I fell in love with fucking Ape Escape. I didn't really like 2 and 3, but Ape Escape 1 was like my
Yep.
game. And they made Parappa the Rapper. So what the
Yep.
fuck? Like,
Yep.
I didn't know they made
Yep.
a lot of these games. I think they were under a different studio. Or no, they were just under Sony Interactive. They didn't really have
They
their own.
were, and then they became Japan Studio at some
Okay.
point.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
yeah, man, I'm actually really sad to see them go. They are actually responsible for like the lifeblood of Sony at the beginning stages. It's kind of crazy that they just
They're yep.
they don't
They've
need
been
them
around a long
anymore.
time.
Yeah.
And yeah, this this is continuing. This is a continuing trend that's been going on for almost 10 years now, of the shift in power at Sony, where PlayStation is now centered in the United States. You know, their leadership is in the United States. That is where PlayStation's run out of, and it's been that way. And this studio in particular has not really done well of late. Their games have not broken the bank in terms of sales numbers. And they've had a lot of critical flops as well with Knack and Knack 2.
Mm-hmm.
And even Last Guardian was not super well received. So it's really unfortunate, because this kind of sucks to me, for a number of reasons. Obviously, people losing their jobs sucks, but it kind of, in the terms of the game side, it really sucks, because this was where Sony got their first party variety from. You know, this was a studio that made many different types of games, and they made games that were different from the rest of their portfolio, because we are like at a point where Sony's studios basically almost exclusively make third-person action games. That's what they make, and they're good. They're good. We've said this before, but I don't think this is a good thing to be losing this kind of variety in a studio, so I don't know. It's unfortunate, I'm hoping they branch out. Like I need to see them like really do something different with some of their other, with some studio, like, and try different kinds of games. Like, it's been a long time since we got a first party RPG out of Sony, and no, Horizon does not count as an RPG. Actually, we do need to talk about that at some point. But you know, I don't know. You know, like an RPG or a fighting game or something. You know, man. Like it's been a while. I mean, how do you feel about their exclusives at this point? I know they're good, but it's like I need
Um,
some variety in my life.
that's a good question. I do think we need variety. Um, I'm I actually am like burnt out of like first person shooters. I stopped playing them like
Mm-hmm.
a long time ago because I was an Xbox fan and that's all I played was first person shooters. So by the
Mm-hmm.
time now, like I'm completely burnt out. So now I know a lot of people will say like, "Oh, well, first person shooters haven't really been that thing lately," and it's just like to me, it has always been like that for me. So so I'm actually on the other end of the spectrum. I like all these third party or third person shooters that I'm seeing, or third person action games that I'm seeing from Sony because they're not in the same genre, even though they're third person action. If that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but in the same sense, I do want to see like, but we're getting that, but just not from Sony themselves. Like I do want to see like some more obscure Japanese RPGs that we're getting and everything of that nature, even though it's not necessarily from Sony themselves. Because like the White Knight Chronicle games was like a random ass game I picked up on the PS3 and I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, I like seeing random shit like that. And there are random games that I can pick up, like YS and everything like that nature that are scattered on the PS4 and PS3 or PS5 rather. Um, but from Sony themselves, I actually like the direction they're going at as far as like variety. They have God of War,
Mm-hmm.
they have uh uh Horizon. I would like to
Mm-hmm.
see, like you said, maybe a Japanese JRPG from them and see what they
Yeah.
can do with their first party studios instead of relying on like the third
Yeah.
party
Something in the
studios.
vein of like Final Fantasy
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
You know.
See
Yeah.
if they can try to like tackle that or whatever. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think they're doing a phenomenal job. To be honest with you, uh, I think
Fair
that
enough.
the people that lack variety, in my opinion, right now is Xbox. They lack a lot of
Mm-hmm.
variety. They're trying to branch out, but they don't.
I think they have decent variety. It's just that their games haven't been good. You
Yeah,
know, that's the
that's true.
problem.
Yeah, that's true.
Is most of the games they're coming out with that are exclusive just aren't. They're not. They're not like good games. You know, most of them. So, hopefully they can turn that around this gen. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, Sony. I mean, they're doing fine with their strategy. So my criticism is, it is what it is. Like, it's not like they're hurting by the fact that they've released so many. It's just my thing about it is like it's coming down to a point where they're almost caught, like their studios are kind of copying each other, you know, and that's not a bad thing because the games are good, but it's becoming like overt though, in the sense that like they're all trying to make like a story driven third person adventure game, you know, and some of them do a little open world here, like Ghost of Tsushima was like a full open world game, and then you have Horizon, which was also open world. And then you have God of War, which is kind of doing its own little thing with like the wide linear, but you know, it's still though at the crux of every one of them. The core of most of these games is that they're story driven. You know,
I don't think
that's what
that's
they're going
necessarily a
for.
bad thing. I think
Yeah.
everyone wants to, like, for instance, Ghost of Tsushima, I think is a perfect example. It's the perfect open world game for me.
Hmm.
Uh has a
Yeah.
really engaging story. I can stay in with the story. It doesn't really overstay its welcome like the
Hmm.
Assassin's Creed games do, or other open world games. And the combat's really good. It's challenging, but they can make it simple as well. And
Hmm.
it just hit all the marks for me. And I think that's what I like about their first party studio, their first party games. Like, yeah, they're the third person action or the third person driven story games, but they're all in different genres that they excel at.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
God of War is that third person action game that excels at action. You get a really good fucking story with it, but if you want some really good action as well, you got that. Horizon, I don't think it's a really good RPG, but other people think the game's fucking phenomenal. So
Hmm.
you have that with the Horizon, and then you have a third person shooter slash zombie thing with The Last of Us, which I think with Last of Us 2, they really up the third person shooter aspect of it. It's almost like a generic third person shooter where everyone moves in that game, how fluid the movement is in that game, which I think a lot of people underrate The Last of Us 2 for, as far as
Mhm.
like mechanically how superior that. Because I went back and played The Last of Us 1, and I tried it for like an hour, and I'm like, I cannot fucking do this.
It's
Last of Us
rough.
2
Yeah.
is phenomenally better, as far
Yeah.
as mechanically wise. So
Mhm.
I think that's what they're trying to do. And then you got Ratchet and Clank, right, which is like a phenomenal third person story driven kitty
Shooter. Yeah.
shooter slash
Platform shooter. Yeah.
platformer. So
Mhm.
it's excelling at that. So then Spider-Man, of course, you got a
Right.
superhero thing, third person action, story driven, but it's a superhero genre and it excels at that. So I think that's what they focus on, and I actually like that they focus on just making the best in one particular genre. Uh,
Yeah.
and I like
Yep.
that. I think
And they cannot be matched. No one in the industry matches them. They're
exactly.
not even close. They're not even close. Actually, like no one's even remotely close.
Yeah.
So to their credit, they've carved out a niche that they're very good at. So your point is well taken. As much as I'm belly aching a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they make bad
Oh
games.
no, no, I know
I'm
what you're
not
saying. You're
saying that
just
at
saying
all.
they're kind of samey,
Yeah.
and I feel
I just want to
different.
see this talent make some different types of games.
And I think they did try, to be honest with you. Like
Mhm.
the people that made I want to say Ratchet and Clank, they made
Yeah.
Resistance, and that was a first person shooter, and that shit was
Yes.
that was ass to me. I did not like it at all.
Really?
I didn't like
I
it.
never played Resistance, so I
Yeah.
don't know.
I thought the
Um,
idea and the concept was really cool. The first one was really good, actually. I'll take that back. The
mhm.
second and third one, I'm just like, well, I don't even know why you keep making these. Um,
Yeah.
I think Killzone, obviously made by Guerrilla Games, that game is weird because I think I wanted to like it. It just, first of all, it came out on the PS2, and the PS2 couldn't fucking handle it. Like,
Mm.
in my opinion. And then when I played it again on the PS4, I believe, or was it 3?
Yeah. There was some on 3, and then there was Shadowfall on
But
PS4.
yeah, by the time I got to the PS4 and by the time I got to 3, I really didn't care about it anymore because so many other great games that came out. I was just like, yeah, why you guys are even trying? Then when Shadowfall came, I was just like, I'm glad the series is like kind of dying. Um,
Mhm.
and they moved on to something else. So it's like they did try, these studios did try, and now that they have enough clout to make what they want to make, if that makes any sense. And
Yeah.
these are what they're making. But I do agree, they all do feel samey until you actually like kind of think about it and you're like, oh, okay, they're
Yeah.
actually different. Because
Yeah.
I was on
They do
that
have their
wave.
own
Yeah.
personality.
Yeah, I was on that wave
Yeah.
too, and I just really sat down and thought about it one day. I'm like, actually, they make a variety of different games. I guess they're just all within that vein. We all tend to think of like, oh, Atreus and the Sun. That's The Last of Us, and it's actually not The Last of Us. Like that's
Mhm.
Kratos' thing and everything like that. So I don't know,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I get what you're saying though.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, let's move on. Bloomberg, Jason Schreier, has reported last week that following the failure of Anthem and the success of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, that the next Dragon Age appears to have dropped its multiplayer aspect and is now going to be a fully single player game. Montrell, sound the klaxons. It's
I
time
wish I had a
to
lighter.
celebrate.
You know why? Because I'm smoking that single player pack. EA. Smoking it. It's just so good. Because
Oh,
you remember like
yeah.
10 years ago, you said no
Yeah.
one wanted
Yeah.
fucking single player games. I'm smoking it right
Oh,
now.
my
It's so good.
gosh.
I'm
Yeah.
so high off of it.
The meme is dead, Montrell. The meme is dead. Electronic Arts has killed it themselves. It's over. Single player is not dead, you motherfuckers. It's here to stay.
Man, I don't even know what to say. I'm surprised they did it. Like I'm
I am
surprised.
too. I really am too. But EA is this is EA's biggest fault is that they are a follower. They are not a industry leader. They do
Mm-hmm.
not innovate the way other publishers try to. As much as Activision has issues, they try new shit, and they do it a lot.
Yep.
And that is something to their credit is why they're successful, because they try to lead the industry. They're trying to be the trendsetter, whereas EA is the trend follower. And this is an example of them following trends. It took one of their own games, single player games, being successful for them to say, oh, okay, maybe we can make single player games and they'll sell, but it's like, it's nice to hear this. I'm very happy about this, but at the same time, it's like, why did it take this long for you to realize this was a bad idea?
And you know what? That's my biggest problem with EA. They have
Yeah.
some of the best talent,
Yep.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
That if they just let them go, they could rival fucking Sony, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like think of what they can do with like another Dead Space game. Think of what they could have done with like, an actual Dragon Age game or a Mass Effect game, which they're going to do. But like years ago, they could have did all this shit years ago. I think one of their biggest blunders, in my opinion, is trying to get the Call of Duty numbers for Battlefield. That was one of their biggest blunders. They tried to do a yearly thing, and it cost them phenomenally because,
dude, it's almost cost them that IP.
Exactly, because Battlefield had its own niche. You were still making your money back and getting more money because people like me were talking to people like, yo, like there are a lot of people who are like, I don't want this fast paced. Yeah, like, you gotta play Battlefield. They're like, I don't want this fast paced Call of Duty game. Play Battlefield, bro. Like I can blow a building down and create a sniper's nest for somebody. Like they had their own niche, and then they just, like you said, followed the trend, and they wanted to make Battlefield a yearly thing, and it's not that. You had to take time to polish Battlefield, and the player numbers never go down like until the next Battlefield comes out. So I don't understand why they wanted to do what they wanted to do, and it's just phenomenal that it took Jedi Fallen Order for them to be like, we can do this. Like,
well, Respawn, they're the heroes we didn't deserve, but the ones we needed, in this fight, because not only they're an amazing studio. I gotta tip my cap to Respawn Entertainment, because not only did they flip the switch with single player at EA, and make a successful Star Wars game, and they also save Star Wars games also, by the way.
Oh yeah.
But they've also made a battle royale that is absolutely phenomenal and just so fun, and it gets better, every season. So I got to tip my cap to them. They're firing on all cylinders right now, man. And they're actually like one of my favorite studios right now. Not gonna lie, like I really have a lot of respect for them. I mean, especially given they work for EA. So
I saw the potential with Titanfall. I thought Titanfall last gen. I know this may be controversial. It probably was one of the best multiplayer first person shooters I've ever fucking played.
I don't think a lot of people that played it would disagree with you. Actually, the game's very popular.
Yeah, it's the parkour system they had. The Titans themselves, like everything was just really good. It's just it didn't click for some people. I don't know why, but man, that game. So I was happy when their talent translated to Apex and everyone saw what I saw. I'm like, yeah, this is what this team can fucking do.
Yeah, dude, as a shooter, man, it I don't want to say, like, it kind of rivals Destiny to me in terms of like, it's control and stuff.
It's okay to say that. Like, these are the people that made Call of Duty 4. This is why Call of Duty 4 was so fucking good.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. But like, dude, in terms of control and everything, and just the way characters feel, I have never played a shooter where I feel as fast as I do, but also as in control of my character as I do in Apex.
Yeah.
It's incredible. The game controls like absolutely like a dream. It's just like the movements you can make too, your ability to like maneuver around environments it's crazy, and it fits the game though. That's why it's like so good to me. It's not like Call of Duty where it's like cartoony that you're like this military dude, and you're fucking, triple stepping up buildings. It's like, Apex isn't like that. These are cartoony characters in this like weird sci-fi universe, but so it fits, and it's like it works for me there. But dude, I don't know. I can't think of another shooter besides Destiny, maybe, like that really rivals Apex in terms of controllability for me. So yeah, Respawn's, they're doing a great job, and congratulations to BioWare. You guys, you've come out the other end. Okay, you've had some rough years. The last few years.
Yeah,
we're gonna do a little pep talk right now. You've had some rough years last few years, and you guys, you made it. Okay, Anthem. you've put it away. Okay, it's gone. It's
Yes.
over. You can
Yes.
move
You
on.
can move
Okay,
on.
Anthem's done. Casey Hudson's gone. You know, some Mark Dare is gone. Some of these guys, you guys can start fresh and start anew and really focus on what BioWare is known for and what we come to you for, and make great single player RPGs. Okay, so please take your fucking time. If I don't see Dragon Age until 2024, I know we've been talking about it on the show a little bit that they gotta, you know, get their fucking ass in gear with this game. But you know what? Take your time, please. Take your time. Make a great game. You know, so
I
I think they can do it.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see a redemption arc. I think they're gonna do
I do
pull
too.
a Capcom and have a redemption arc.
Yeah.
And maybe the next 2 games they release, starting with Dragon Age, it'd just be fucking phenomenal. Because even that fucking Mass Effect remaster, that shit looks fucking dope. So I'm hoping to get everyone to play that fucking game. So
yeah. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to Dragon Age now. I want to see it. I want to see it in action, like what the game is. So, and like gameplay and stuff, and kind of what they're going for. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, Montrell, let's move on. We got a few more stories here. So Elden Ring has been hotly anticipated, right? This is from Video Game Chronicle. This game has been hyped to all hell ever since it was initially revealed a couple of E3s ago, actually. But we've seen nothing of it. We've gotten no trailers. We've barely gotten any information on it. We have no idea when it's coming out. And then news started circulating that, you know, there might be some footage shown here in the next month or so. And then a video leaked of somebody basically on their phone videotaping a monitor that was showing a trailer of Elden Ring, and it's really grainy footage. It looks straight out of the 90s, and you can't really tell what the fuck is even going on. But Montreal, what did you think of the trailer? Could you make anything of this?
I could actually. I was watching it. First of all,
Yeah.
for anyone who grew up when we grew up, and you're kind of cognizant of what's going on, these games look like they're recorded with the Motorola Razor or the I said the T-Mobile Sidekick.
Yeah, the Sidekick.
I don't understand how you can get video quality this bad with phones nowadays. Like, this person had to have like a batshit, like, I'm gonna buy like a fucking, you know, $30 phone somewhere and it had Android on it.
Or their battery was at like 5%, you know, like.
But I think the game, you know what the game reminds me of? Kingdoms of Alamar. I think you're gonna have like different builds that. It looks like you're running around an open field, like, which is something Dark Souls has really never done. This is a truly open world experience. So I'm looking forward to it. The graphics, though, like I said, I can't judge it on the graphics because of this quality of video. It looks like a early PS4 game, in my opinion. And it looks like
this is their first attempt at open world, so we may need to go a little easy on them on this. I just linked you
that's why I said,
an upscaled version of the trailer. Too. It's a little more clear. So.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. And I think it looks like they're going for more of a cartoony vibe, just from what I'm seeing. And
it kind of does, yeah.
But it looks like, to me, it reminds me of just Kingdoms of Alamar, the art style. That's what they're going for. So it's not as serious as Dark Souls or whatever.
Yeah. I don't really know what to make of this. I'm just more like sad for them that this is how their game kind of got leaked. Like, this sucks. You know, it's like this, like, just ugly ass, like, you know, like we were talking about, like a Motorola Razor level video of your fucking game, you know, like, man, you know, because the hype for this game is so high, you know. People are just chomping at the bit to learn anything they can about this. So, you know, I mean, I will say, I think this does mean, though, we are probably going to see this game soon, probably the next few months. I would imagine, because this trailer looks like it's done, you know, like it looks like an almost finished trailer. So, you know, we'll see, I guess. But you're right about the look, though. It definitely has a little bit of a cartoony look to it. I will say some of the creatures they showed, though, definitely have that Dark Souls.
Oh yeah,
that Dark Souls vibe to them. You know, they're pretty grotesque. So I don't think they're ever going to get away from that in their games. But yeah. So, any other thoughts on that, Montreal?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, fair enough. I'm actually making an executive decision here. We are skipping the next two stories because they're not important. So our last story that we have to talk about, and then we're gonna have a little discussion after that too, is Nintendo and the Pokemon Company announced two Pokemon games last week, and one is called Pokemon Legends Arceus, which is one of the legendary Pokemon. And then they announced remakes for Diamond and Pearl called Pokemon. What do they call it? Shining Pearl, and I don't remember the Diamond version, but oh, here we go. Yeah, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl,
Okay.
which are their remakes for those Pokemon games. So that's Gen 4 Pokemon, the Sinnoh region. With like Chimchar and Torterra and Piplup, the wonderful starters from that game. So first of all, let's talk about the Pokemon Legends game. So this is an open world. It looks like finally they're making an open world Pokemon game.
I'm sorry, but the memes for this game is hilarious.
Yeah. Well, what do you got? What are you seeing out there?
You saw the Dark Souls what I saw.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah. That was pretty funny, man. So yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Keep going because I want you to explain the game and then I'll talk about the memes or whatever.
Gotcha. So yeah, it's an open world Pokemon game. It looks like a third person game where you're controlling a character and you're running around and this Pokemon, kind of just wandering around the environment, and there's tall grass you can hide in. And we didn't see a ton of mechanics, but there does seem to be some kind of battling feature in the game. From what it looked like to me, I did rewatch this trailer today. It looks like it's going to be turn-based battles in some form. So it's not action-based like we would hope me and Montreal kind of would want, but it's a step in the right direction, at least in terms of the open world aspect.
So what's interesting is they keep calling this an action RPG. I don't know if you peeped that. Nintendo.
I did not.
An action RPG.
Okay. But the animation we saw of combat did not look like an action game to me.
No, it didn't.
If it did, it looks like a slideshow because the characters were just like doing an animation and then just kind of standing in place, and there's something was happening, based on the move they did. It was not very good looking. Yeah. So, I don't know what to make of this game. I'm excited that it exists and like we're getting an open world Pokemon game, but man, the footage I saw was not a game that is getting me excited, if you get what I mean. It looks basic and it looks a little rough too. It was laggy, like the trailer was laggy and like there was frame drops happening and it just did not look smooth. It kind of looked like when she was running around the environments that it was like running at like 20 frames a second, I'm assuming this is obviously on Switch, so that it's not hyper surprising, but still it's kind of like the Pokemon are moving too. Like some of the Pokemon are moving around in the environment and they're like moving at like 5 frames, like they don't have like full animations. It doesn't look like it, at least,
Yeah, I think this is a very rough build. But I think they really wanted to show us something, and I respect it actually. I'm actually on the other side of the coin. I am like dummy excited for it. Because even with the stuff I saw, it looks like it's gonna be very open world. And, there was this one scene where the camera pans past the character and looks across the field, and people are like, "Oh my god, it's the same universe as Breath of the Wild." And the memes that come out of that now, every time there's an open field, someone's like, "Oh my god, is this a thing of Breath of the Wild?" It's like Breath of the Wild fans are going crazy over the game, thinking like every open field reminds them of Breath of the Wild or whatever. Like Breath of the Wild did the open field,
like they've never seen an open field in a video game
exactly.
before. Like, Jesus Christ, dude! Like, did you play Ocarina of Time? Oh wait, no, you're 15. Fucking god!
Yeah, this is Zelda
don't even know what that is.
Zelda account tweeted that like, "Is this a Breath of the Wild like tie-in?" It was hilarious. But anyway, the game itself, I think the game looks really fucking cool. Honestly, I'm so fucking glad they tried. What I wanted is look like what they did. I didn't want them to go full action. But like when I see a monster in the field, I pull up my monster, and then that little area around it, like maybe it's like a little ring or whatever, that
Yeah,
specify that's our battle area. That
like
turns
a Tails game,
yeah, that turns
right?
into the battle or whatever. But it looks like they didn't
Hmm.
pan out into like another battle. It looks like it's happening like actually on the
Yeah,
field, like how Tails like actually goes into another field, like a little mini
yeah,
field or whatever.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
This one looks like it's staying on the field, and I actually like that. Even though it's still like turn by turn, I actually like. I can probably see other Pokemon walking in the background while I'm battling
Hmm.
my this Pokemon right here, and I respect it. And then I don't even have to. It looks like, which I hope they keep. I can sneak in the grass and catch Pokemon because I think
Yep.
everyone wants to catch Pokemon like that because we saw Ash do it in the first or second episode. Like uh,
Hmm.
we never had that ability to just go throw a Pokeball, except for in the Safari Zone. Uh,
Like surprise a Pokemon, you
yeah,
know. I think that's the thing about it is that Pokemon is presented to us in such a specific way that just the concept of this game can change the entire way you do things as basic as catching a Pokemon, you
yeah,
know? Because the way we play the game is like you have to fight the Pokemon in order to catch it. So that means it's alerted to your presence, you know?
yeah,
It's a very stand up kind of thing. Whereas this looks like Montreal said, there's literally footage in this trailer where the character's crouched in tall grass and they throw a Pokeball at a Pokemon that doesn't know it's there, and they just catch the Pokemon. You know, there's no fight there's no fight needed. You know, so that is a cool element to this, and I mean, I don't want to downplay it. Like this is an exciting moment. Okay, this is like true growth for the Pokemon
yeah,
franchise of video games. You know, so I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer here. I'm just calling out what I see,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
It's like the game looks rough in the state it was shown. But that doesn't mean they can't fix it up and make it better though. And even if it is rough though, and still the fact that we get this game is exciting, that the Pokemon company is now finally trying some different stuff, you know. And they're giving us some different kind of things with a Pokemon game, because I think we're at the point with Pokemon with Sword and Shield that I don't really know what the like. Are they just gonna keep continuing that formula? I'm sure they are, but it's like there's got to be some other alternate path, you know,
So,
for the series.
which one thing is I think, which is a major, major, major step in the right direction, is they actually
Hmm.
have now another studio working on Pokemon games.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's super big and frees up Game Freak to actually pursue other options, stuff like that. Because we actually got a glimpse of that with that one game. What was the other game they made? Ah, fuck. It was like a small RPG on the Switch. I think it was like One Time Hero, something like that, or
Oh, Small Town
Small
Hero or
Town Hero.
whatever. Yeah,
They made that game,
yeah.
or they helped someone make that game. Um,
Hmm.
and I thought, like, you can tell just from that game, like they wanted in that game, like the combat wasn't that bad from what I remember. I
Yeah.
thought it was pretty unique. So it's like they want to make other stuff, but they're tied so much into Pokemon. I think they finally got permission from the Pokemon company or Nintendo, whoever the fuck runs it, like to hire another team. Um, and I don't know, and I said this on my Twitter too, and a lot of people disagree with me, and I still got a lot of flack for it or whatever. And I don't know who made the decision to finally say, "Hey, let's get rid." We don't even have to get rid of turn by turn. My problem was I didn't want to get rid of turn by turn or turn based combat. I think there's more stuff you could have done to spice it up, and it looks like
Hmm.
Pokemon Legends is going to be that stigma or that way to spice it up and make
Yeah.
turn based, because it's still going to be turn based. It looks like, but it's more spiced up.
Yeah, I think my problem with Pokemon, it's not like just the fact that it's turn based. Like turn based combat can be fun. That's not
Exactly.
the problem necessarily. It's like we've seen it with like Persona does things that spice up the combat and make it fun, you know, and they have these flashy animations, and Pokemon should definitely go down that route, by the way. Where they make their combat animations way flashier, where these fights feel like a cinematic almost that you're watching, you know, like you're almost watching the TV show, you
Yeah.
know. They need to really explore that. and put more effort into that, in my opinion. But not only that, though, but just different types of mechanics, like things like Bravely Default does with like the Brave system and the default system where you can like bank turns and stuff. Like you don't necessarily need to steal that per se, but like I'm just saying there are things you can do in the turn-based realm that aren't just I take a turn, you take a turn. I take a turn, you take a turn. I take a turn, you take a turn. Like it's like it doesn't need to be that monotonously samey all the time, Like you can have crazy shit in there, make it unbalanced, bro. I know Pokemon's competitive, but fuck it. Okay? You can make the rules for competitive really boring, okay? You can. Just make the fucking game crazy.
Well, that's
Where like you have these like triple battles, multiple Pokemon battles. You're fighting 3-way Pokemon battles. Do crazy shit, bro.
yeah.
Like you can steal turns from your opponent and shit. Like do stuff like that, It's
Well, I mean,
it doesn't have to be.
people will argue with you like, oh, they have certain moves that can steal turns from each other, but it's like the base game of
Yeah.
Pokemon, right? Like we were talking
Yes, the
about
base mechanics. Right.
of Pokemon. Like we were talking about, I think like Neo's a good example, like how you can get really in depth with Neo, or you can kind of cheese it and get through it. But cheesing can only go so far if you fight like two bosses at the same time. You can't just cheese it with that type of. You have to learn the mechanics of the game. The game gradually gets harder. The problem with Pokemon is, and I understand this game's made for fucking kids. And to counter that argument, this game's made for fucking kids. Kids are playing Fortnite at an unprecedented amount of skill. Like we have a friend, 6-year-old, who can build fucking forts in like 2 seconds and headshot us, and I can't do that shit in Fortnite. And I'm pretty sure
I can't do that. I never could do it.
Yeah, if I was 6 years old playing Fortnite back then, I probably couldn't do it either. So these kids have skills. They understand how to play these fucking games. So
yeah, they're not dumb.
Yeah. So the idea that Pokemon have to stay the same because kids want to open barrier to kids, is the weakest argument I've ever heard in my entire life. Second, like like you said, you can flash up the RPG or the RPG elements of the game. It doesn't have to be this. They can make if you want the base game to be easy for everyone, cool. Give me a new game plus mode though. Black and White was the only game I remember that had like a challenge mode, and I can go into this challenge mode and I really have to think about what the fuck I'm doing against these people like I'm fighting and these trainers, because they're using the mechanics to its fullest extent. And I think Black and White had a new game plus mode as well. Don't quote me on that. But that was like peak Pokemon, like Fire Leaf and Leaf Red, or Fire Heart Gold and Soul Silver, in my opinion, had the best mechanics. It was just peak Pokemon. And Black and White 2 was just peak Pokemon. After that, you couldn't take the franchise anymore because they did everything they could. They had the challenge modes, they had the battle tower, they had all this shit.
Yeah. Two regions.
They challenged you as the player, like, okay, you understand the basics, but now we're gonna push it further. And no other Pokemon game has done that. Like I remember even the older Pokemon games did that. They pushed your knowledge of the game, because when you go against fucking Whitney's Milk Tank, you have to learn how to play the fucking game. If you don't know the game up to that point, she'll just fucking stomp you. And we're like,
she was a wall. She was definitely a wall.
Yeah, and I even say to a certain degree, depending on what starter you pick, Brock was a fucking.
Oh, he definitely was. Are you kidding me? Yeah, he was totally a wall, dude. Like if you played Charmander, good luck, bro. You're just tackling him for 30 fucking minutes, man, and hoping you don't get destroyed,
Yeah.
Because
and it's like no one really understood that. I think the fans nowadays who like grew up playing Diamond and Pearl and those other games like that, they don't understand that there was a difficulty level to Pokemon, and that's why adults still played them well into our like teen years and everything of that nature.
And that's completely gone out the window.
Yeah, it's simple. It's just
Sword and Shield was fun, and I liked a lot of the concepts that game introduced, and I liked the world that they made for that game. But as a Pokemon game, it's not even remotely challenging.
I think
like not even
just
remotely.
About that walking to like lunch, Sword and Shield, probably in my opinion, out of all the Pokemon regions, is the most interesting region I've ever played in. I think the environment's cool, everything.
Yep.
It's just what the fuck? Like it's just stuck behind this. I don't know who decided to hold that game back, but they held that game back from being like the 10 out of 10 Pokemon game I wanted. I don't even care if it was
Mhm.
in Kanto. Like the Galar region was fucking dope as shit to me.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just something was holding it back. And I honestly think now watching these YouTube videos about how people feel about Pokemon Legends, I think it's the fans. Like I honestly think it's the fans. And I'm not a
Yeah.
huge Pokemon fan anymore as much as I used to be, but because the series wouldn't evolve, and I thought it was Game Freak, but I think Game Freak was actually just listening to the fans, and the fans don't want that game to evolve, ironically, because that game's about evolution. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and my thing is like, I don't know. We yell about Pokemon a lot on this show. Okay, it's because we like it though, and we want it to get better. And I think the Pokemon fan base has become a toxic community because there's like a line drawn in the sand between people who don't want Pokemon to change and they think any change to Pokemon is fucking bad, and they hate it. And then there's the people who want Pokemon to change, which is the side of the fence we're on, but they're also toxic because they antagonize these people, and anything if the game doesn't change at all, it's a bad video game, which is not true. Sword and Shield's not a bad game at all.
Oh, yeah.
It's we praised it to like crazy when we played it. Like it was fun. I enjoyed my time with that game, but at the same time, I think this is the thing, is that, and this is the part about this announcement, this pair of announcements that's actually exciting, is that it sounds like Game Freak might be trying to do both. They're going to keep making the old games, the way they've been making them, because the Diamond and Pearl remakes look exactly like, the old games, and they're not fully upscaling it to the Sword and Shield style. Unfortunately, that would be nice, but they're not doing that. It's still that older, like, grid-based movement and things like that. It's just a little bit more, it's upscaled, and like it's 3D now, and it looks a little prettier, and the characters are like kind of chibi looking.
I think they can actually use that style to remake other games too. Like you want to go way back to like the Silver and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That style is very usable, and I like it actually. I think
Mhm.
it's very good for remakes.
Yeah. But they're also doing this open world game at the same time, and both of these games are going to come out within a few months of each other. Because the Diamond and Pearl remake's coming out at the end of this year, they said, and then this is coming out. The Legends game is coming out early 2022. That's what the trailer said. It may get delayed. It's very possible. But even so, even if it's within a year of each other, that's interesting. That's exciting to see. So I think we might all be happy.
Yeah, I think they will
here.
continue the
So
Pokemon series the way they want to, which is regular Pokemon games. They're going to be called, Pokemon Space and Gravity or whatever the fuck.
we already did Sun and Moon. We don't need to go back there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Whatever the next polar opposites of you.
Pokemon Gun and Bat. I don't know.
So I think they're still going to do that. But I do think if this Legends take off, which I 100% it will, because people like me are
no question.
the game.
No, this is going to take off.
And it just gets received really well. Like that's going to be their new frontline game. Like that's going to be their platform game, and I respect it. Like you said, like I think it's cool. They can cater to both, like almost like what Call of Duty is doing. To be honest with you, they have enough money to do that now, and they've been had enough money. And they should just use it now.
Fair enough. Okay, that's it for news. Montreal, I'm going to pose you a question here. We had a topic that we talked about on Twitter briefly, and we were going to talk about it during the show. Do you want to cover it now, or do you want to save it till next week?
We can cover it now, or if you want to, we can cover it now and then put the blurb in next week too. Like if news is like really slow. I think we should talk about it now because it's still fresh.
Gotcha. Okay, let's just talk about it. All right. For those of you who want to get out, we're going into a topic. We're going to talk about what makes a game an RPG.
Yes, your rigmarole for the people that are leaving now.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just do that. So yeah, normal show's over. For those of you who like this episode, please like the episode, review the show, and subscribe to the show on whatever feed you're listening to it on, and please share it with your friends. If you'd like to interact with either of us on Twitter, you can do so at iTrap for the Hokage. That's the number 4, not the word. I'm at ThunderNut01. The show is at the Player's Take. If you'd like to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter or send us an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. And that is it for the normal run of the show, guys. So if you're leaving, we will see you later. Okay, bye.